Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mind Body Medicine for Chronic Pain podcast. My name's Sean, and I'm so glad you're here. I am a therapist, and I specialize in helping people heal from chronic pain and chronic symptoms using emotional and psychological modalities. The amazing thing is most people don't even know that's possible, but you know, since you're listening to this podcast, that it is. And this should not be fringe because this is this is how the brain works. This is how the body works. This is how the nervous system works. Healing from chronic pain is an emotional and psychological endeavor, period. Truly, most people don't know that, but we know this. Okay, so if that is interesting to you, you have found a home. You're in the right place. So here we are, Sunday, December 7th, another Sunday, another podcast episode. And today it's just you and me. We're just going to have a conversation. No guest, just us. And we are talking about breaking intergenerational trauma cycles when you're gay. This one is for the gays. This one is totally for the gays. And I mean, all my content is for anyone. All my content is for everyone who resonates with it, and I hope this resonates with a lot of different people. But this conversation is targeted to y'all. This is targeted to y'all gay folk out there. It's targeted to me and you. Okay. Before I get into it, let me just say, if you are stuck in your healing and you need to take this work deeper, I would love to meet you. I, of course, offer weekly individual therapy. That is my main thing, and I would be happy to be your therapist. You can very easily request a consultation with me through my website, which is mindbodymedicineforchronicpain.com or seanhershey.com. I am trained in PRT, which is pain reprocessing therapy. I practice through that lens. I practice from a somatic lens, so I offer somatic psychotherapy. Somatic refers, for people who don't know this, somatic refers to the body as it is experienced from within. That's the body as it is experienced from within. And yes, in therapy, we tune into sensations in your body, we tune into emotions in your body, and we tune into like the true essence of you, all of which is experienced in your body. So you can work with someone who like really understands chronic pain and can help you finally find a path that leads to true, deep healing. If you're enjoying the podcast, please share it with someone who could use it. As I've said before, they may totally reject you. That would be completely normal. You may totally change their life. That would also be completely normal. There's a lot of us out there who are open to this. There's a lot of people who aren't, but there's so many people who need it. So many people who need it. So share this with someone who could use it if that seems tolerable. But also protect yourself if you know it's going to be a disaster. You don't put pressure on yourself to like share this with everybody, because not everybody's going to get it. Totally fine. Not your problem. Not mine either. We can hang out. Not everybody's going to come to the party, but hey, we're here. Also follow the podcast, rate the podcast, write a written review for the podcast. All would be much appreciated. And you please can join in the conversation. In the show notes, there's a link to ask a question on the podcast. So just scroll down. I see all the responses, and I'm going to choose a few to address on the podcast. So please, if you have any questions or any feedback, like anything you want to offer that you want to hear covered in the podcast, please write to me there. Just go to the show notes and click ask a question on the podcast. Okay. How to break intergenerational trauma cycles when you're gay. I'm just going to straight out the gate say, like, I don't know the full answer to this, but I have some insights that we are going to talk about today. Today, we're talking about patiently attuning to your true self, which is a core part of healing from chronic pain. Most of us with chronic pain and this includes me, and this probably includes you. Most of us with chronic pain are the kinds of people who have been taught somewhere along the line that it's not really okay to be us. There are things about ourselves that need to be put away, shoved down, swept under the rug, pushed under wherever, because we would be better off not being our true selves. In some cases, it's not safe to be your true self. In some cases, it's frowned upon to be your true self. In many cases, it's a lifetime worth of pushing your true self down and not even knowing who you really are. And the work that we have to do now is finding that true self because it's there. That is there whether you like it or not. Same for me. Who I truly am is just there, whether I quote unquote like it or quote unquote don't like it. It kind of doesn't matter because I am who I am. And there's only so much control that each of us has over who we really are. And if you spend your life in fear, if you spend your life feeling like threat around every corner, what is going to happen to your body? Chronic pain. If you spend your life fearing your true self, yes, your true self will be around every corner that you walk around because everywhere you go, there you are. Okay. So it's so important to learn how to make peace with yourself and not be afraid of yourself. So, that is the branch of mind body medicine that we are working with today, patiently attuning to your true self to turn down the threat signal, which in turn turns down pain. Because we all know chronic pain is a danger signal. For anybody who's like, oh my God, what? Huh? This is a whole, um, there's a lot to learn here. And if this is new to you, uh, season 1, episode 1 through 5 of this podcast is a great primer. That'll teach you everything you need to know. Also, the book by Nicole Sachs, it is called Mind Your Body. That will teach you everything you need to know too. There's also an audiobook. She reads it herself. So fun. Okay. So this episode I'm like, it came to me in a dream, question mark. I think you could say that. I'm like really channeling my like early Catholic school days. I'm like, this appeared to me in a dream. Can I just say, this is like such a random aside, but can I just say, when I was a child, probably like second grade, we used to watch like documentaries and like Catholic documentaries and hear stories about, my teacher at that time was an ex nun, like a woman who had been a nun and had left the sisterhood and became like a lay teacher. And she was very into stories of like apparitions, like the apparition of Mary, the apparition of the saints, apparition of whatever. I can still like, I thought of these as horror films. Like literally, these documentaries were terrifying to me. And the stories were like ghosts and angels and visions, and the Virgin Mary would like appear to people. I was like, oh, hell no. And I have memories, true memories of praying to God, do not send me a vision. Do not send me an apparition. I am not strong enough to take it. I was literally too afraid that, and have I gotten any visions of the Virgin Mary? No, I have not. But did I get this episode did sort of come to me in a dream. All of that said. Um, so I've been a little sick lately, and of course, every time I'm sick, I'm like, "Oh my god, it's TMS. Oh my god, it's a mind-body condition." And always, the mind and body are connected, so there's always an element of that. This sickness that I'm having right now is God, I don't think it's going to become chronic. It's just it really seems like just like a little acute sickness that I have to just like nurse myself back to health from. But like when you're sick and you're sleeping and you like your dreams are, I don't know if this happens to other people, but like I mean I guess it's like sort of fever dreams, like where your dreams are just like weird, like kind of repetitive thoughts that you can't get out of, and like kind of bizarre, like like you're kind of not fully asleep, like you're not in a comfortable space, like that's how my dreams were last night. And I had as I was like coming off of just like, sort of like that bizarre dream space. I had this very intense dream where very vivid. I can still remember it like very well. I was sitting at my computer in my home office, like as though I was a therapist, which is where I see my therapy clients. And I was talking to a friend of mine through the computer. So it was like as though I was a therapist, but it was like it was with my friend. And it was basically like she was my therapist in the dream. And she was like, okay, when you were a child and you were gay and you were closeted and you were so afraid, like that part of you, what did it need? Which is it's funny, like this is like how my brain works, but like reflecting back on this, I'm like, you're in real deep when you're dreaming about like parts work and IFS, which is internal family systems therapy for people who aren't like as deep in this shit as I am. But I was dreaming about my friend asking me like, "What did that part of you need? What would have been like the escape route? Where could you have taken that part of you?" And the idea was like we were doing like an IFS style, like in the dream we were she was trying to help me like take this part of myself and like move him into a more positive environment that would be better for him. And in the dream, I remember thinking like there was no escape. There's nowhere he could have gone. Like he was there was nowhere in the world that I knew that was really like properly accepting to gay people. There really wasn't. And like, I didn't grow up in like the kind of environment that was like all gays go to hell. Like it wasn't like that. I grew up in the environment where it was like gay people are sad people and gay people need your support because honestly because their lives are pathetic and their lives are sad and they don't need you to make fun of them, they need you to be there for them because they're pathetic. And so I internalized totally the message that like if this is true about me, my life is going to be pathetic. Like my life is going to be like some sad, lonely, behind closed doors, uh, can't really show your face to society. Like you're a humiliation and your life is going to be pathetic. So you can see why I didn't want to be gay. Like in the world I grew up in, I was like, this is a part of myself that feels so dangerous because what it leads to is extreme social rejection, extreme isolation. And that is dangerous. That is dangerous to a social creature like human beings. That's me, that's you, that's everybody. There's no way around that. Extreme social rejection and isolation is dangerous to all of us, period. There's no way around that. We each have our own unique true self. That is part of your true self and mine and everyone's. That's how life goes. So this was very scary to me and it what and like I said, pathetic. That was my fear. My life is going to be pathetic. And so I wake up from this dream and I'm like sick and like headachy and I'm like, do I have a fever? Am I okay? Like, oh God, this dream, like that, what a vivid dream. And then as I'm like half awake, I'm like, you know what? I never think about this, but this was really a turning point for me in terms of like in my actual life, not in my dream where this is in my actual life now. When I was a child, it was true that there was no way out. Like I didn't have the intellectual mindset to know that like it can be okay to be gay. I truly didn't know that. And I didn't realize that gay people could be cool and have like fun, fulfilling, enriching, and kind of badass lives. I didn't know that until the show Queer as Folk. And I don't know if people are around my age, maybe you have seen the show Queer as Folk. That made a massive impact on me to see gay men living a life that was cool. They were like, I mean, young, quote unquote, but like to me at the time, they were old because I was watching that show when I was, like, 18, I wanna say is when I, like, got hooked on that. It was, like, right when I started college. And in Queer as Folk, they're cool, they, like, go out, they party, they have a good time. In my childhood, the image of a gay man was a closeted priest or Christian brother who, like, stayed inside, behind closed doors all the time and had a pathetic half-life. When I watched Queer as Folk, I was like, "Oh, shit. These dudes are, like, they're, like, out, partying, having a good time. They're badasses, like, life is fun," and, like, what? Like, the cool kids are gay in this show? I'm sorry. What? That blew my fucking mind, and it's sad to look back on that thinking, like, that's how the level of, deprivation that I experienced in my childhood was such that, like, a show like Queer as Folk turned my world upside down and completely changed my worldview. The importance of representation in media, people. Hi. I I am living, breathing proof of that, and so many people are. It's so important. Oh my god, so, so, so important to see yourself in a positive light or see people like you in a positive light. Oh my god, that changed my life. That changed my life, period. And when I was, in this, like, half asleep, half awake state this morning, waking up from this dream, I was like, "That was it. Actually, that was in this IFS, this fake IFS dream that I was having." Well, I wouldn't call it fake. Some part of me was doing IFS with another part of me in in my dream last night. This real, a subconscious IFS experience that I was, having in my dream. The real ticket out, the real answer to, like, what does the young Sean need? The real answer is not, like, there's nothing. The real answer was I needed the show Queer as Folk to come along and show me that it's not just okay, but it's cool to be gay. I have since gone. I mean, that was so many years ago. That was age 18. I'm now 37. This was many years ago even now. I rewatched some Queer as Folk. I personally don't think it really holds up. Like, nowadays it reads as, like, a little problematic, very, very, cis male heavy, like, I mean, this was many years ago. It's still very homophobic. Like, the world has changed a lot in that way. Like, very homophobic, very anti-femme. Um, there are things about the show that are obviously fucked up. Racist. Every character, well, not every character, but most of the main characters are white. Overwhelmingly, it's it's very much a white supremacist space, white normalization space, and so there's a lot of problems with it. It, however, was exactly what I needed. It was exactly what I needed. So, why am I bringing this up in an episode that's about breaking intergenerational, breaking the cycles of intergenerational trauma when you're gay? What I needed as a child was something that my parents, like, weren't providing, or, like, or maybe, like, weren't able to provide. What I needed was something that came from outside of that. The conversation that, it's like really the dominant conversation about breaking intergenerational trauma is about passing it down in the family lineage, like, from, great-grandparents to parents to children to their children to their children. That's the dominant conversation about, breaking the cycle of intergenerational trauma, and obviously that's hugely important and deserves a massive space at the table. That said, breaking the cycles of trauma, it's not all about your family, okay? Was I related to anyone who was in Queer as Folk? No. Could my parents have, like, dreamed that up or done that for me, or even really known that that was necessary? No, because they had raised me in an environment that was incredibly homophobic, like, incredibly homophobic. So I needed something that came from outside of my family that was hugely, hugely important to healing from, the trauma of homophobia that I had been through and the stuck place that I was in as a child. Oh, man. Okay. So today we're talking about patiently attuning to your true self. Like I said, everyone in this world has their unique energies that come from them. That includes you. You have your unique energy that comes from you, and it's out of your control. You don't have the power to of course, everybody has the power to change themselves and grow and be who they want to be. And the essence of you is not within your control. The amount of control we have over who we are is it is there. We do have some control, but the amount of control is laughable. Like we don't have that much control over who we really are. There is an essence to you. All of us want to put our energies out there. All of us want to make an impact. All of us want to be seen and known. You know, this essence inside each of us, it wants to be out there. It wants to be seen and known. We all have that as a universal human need. And that is not bad. That is what it is. It's beyond our control. Many people make an impact. And many people do very important things in this world by putting their energy out there. Okay, many people, of course, like we're saying, many people generate their energy, their like generative energy goes into the world by having children. Okay. And that obviously is a massive putting your energy out into the world, birthing a child, mothering a child, fathering a child, parenting a child, um, raising a child. You put so much of yourself into that. I mean, what a beautiful life's purpose. You put so much of yourself into that, and so much of you lives on in your children, just like so much of my parents lives on in me. And we all know that for better and for worse, so much of our families, our histories live on in us. That energy lives on in us. Many gay people don't do that. Or at least there's like not an easy path to doing that. Many gay people do that, obviously, but many gay people don't do that. And of course, I mean, there's so much like overlap. Like many straight people don't have children. Cool. That's cool too. It's obviously I'm not stupid. I know this is not like binary. I think it is so important to acknowledge having children is not the only way to leave a legacy. I just want to say that again because like our society is so like boxed up on this one. Like people just like lockstep sort of like believe this shit. Having children is not the only way to leave a legacy. I would even question if like leaving a legacy is like really that important, quote unquote. But definitely we can confidently say that letting your energy flow, being yourself, letting yourself be seen and known and heard and putting yourself out there, being yourself, yeah, that's important. That is definitely important. You can argue, like, do you have to leave a legacy? Like, just meditate that need out of you. Okay, but you can make that argument. Everybody needs to be seen and known and heard, and be. Everybody needs to be able to be. That is a universal human need. And having children is not the only way to leave your energy in the world and put your energy out in the world. Okay, intergenerational trauma. Cycles of intergenerational trauma perpetuate in many different ways. The most obvious is behaviorally and emotionally passing on from one generation to the next. The way that I clean the house, for example, is very similar to the way my mom cleans the house. The obsession that I have with keeping my space clean is very similar to my mom's obsession with keeping the house clean, which is very similar to my grandmother's obsession with keeping the house clean. This stuff is intergenerational, passed on behaviorally and emotionally, because the rules in my house growing up, shit, like you put your glass of water down on a wooden surface without a coaster, and like, ooh man, I don't think so. Like, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, look, we had a very strict house in terms of cleanliness and maintaining things, and I'm the same way in my adulthood. I'm like, I am literally the same way. I'm a pain in the ass when it comes to that kind of shit. And okay, the behavioral and emotional passing down, biological and genetic factors also. Um, I wonder, you know, does my grandma have a clean gene, an obsessive clean gene that my mom also has that I also have? I don't know. Maybe. But there's a biological and genetic component to that. And also definitely the environment, which is similar to like the behavioral transmission, but like, if you grow up in a family that's like super rigid, then you take that in. If you grow up in a family that's super chaotic, you take that in. If you grow up in a family that's very open, then you take that in. If you grow up in a family that's very liberal, a lot of people take that in. A family that's very conservative, a lot of people take that in. Some people obviously like rebel against that too, but passing things down intergenerationally, trauma is passed down this way as well. And I got into this using the example of the extreme cleanliness, because there's trauma behind that. Like, that is definitely a place. It's appropriate to have the conversation using that framework from my life, because there's trauma behind that. It's not like, maybe that's a personality trait, okay, but it's connected to trauma. So I'm going to share a little bit about my family. And while I'm doing this, I tell a lot of stories about myself on this podcast, but I really, my plea to you is that you look inward. Like, you dig into, like, how does this impact you? How does this come alive in your life? What does my story inspire in you? Because that's what we're here for. We're here for your healing. So, my grandparents, on my mom's side, my maternal grandparents are both from Ireland, and they immigrated to the United States in I believe 48. I think that's accurate. And my grandparents, but like, I grew up, like, my grandparents had like thick Irish accents. They were super Irish, like they were straight up Irish. And my mom grew up on Long Island in a very like immigrant Irish American community, and yeah, like everybody was just like Irish AF. And pretty pretty fucking Irish to this day. Some legacies hold on. Um, my grandparents were both born into poverty, and I think it's fair to say, I don't know, yeah. I mean, maybe in some ways you could say kind of extreme poverty. My my grandmother, she was born in rural County Clare, and so it was her, and she had two siblings. I don't know. I kind of think she was the middle child, but I'm not sure. So her like family was her mom, dad, and three children, and she was one of them. Her family didn't have enough money to take care of three kids. Like, they couldn't feed three hungry mouths, or however you would put it. And so after fourth grade, she was taken out of school, and she was made to live with another, like, some distant relative, who had more money, and they could take care of her, and she was made to work for them. So she never is 4th grade was the furthest she made it in her education. And after that, she was taken out of the house. Her parents basically gave her away, and she was like forced to live as a servant to this like extended family member. And she was cooked for them, cleaned for them, took care of like a sick older relative, and that was her life. And I mean, she has passed away. She has since passed away many years ago now. But I lived with She was alive when I was alive for many years. I was in my 20s when she passed away. And so, I mean, this she had scars on her arm from in Ireland at the time, they would cook, I guess, on a fire in a fireplace. The most common sort of way to cook was a big hook with a huge pot on it, fire underneath. And my grandma, too, into her 90s, had scars up and down her arm from the hook of the huge pot, and maybe even from the flames in the fire. I don't know. She was at such a young age forced to be a servant in someone else's family, and she was not allowed. I mean, the way she would put it is that she was never allowed to go back to school until she was elderly. She always felt, um, I mean, for lack of a better word, stupid. She always felt like everybody around her had an education, they knew what they were doing, they could read well, they could write well, they knew things, and that she was stupid. Obviously, that is not true, but that is how she felt. And I know now because I'm a therapist and I just, like, know a lot more about, like, how the brain works and how people work. Now I know that it's a lot deeper than that. Like, like, if her story was like, I was never allowed to go back to school, the real trauma under that is, like, I was never allowed to be me, never allowed to develop, to grow up, never allowed to, like, pursue my own interests. Like, I had to live at the mercy of another family, and to have your family give you away, like, to not feel loved, to not feel valued, to not feel like you matter, to feel like, your purpose is to serve others and to work on others' behalf from 4th grade. I could do intergenerational trauma for all my grandparents, but, the American ones too, my dad's side, but we're just gonna we'll stick with this line. So, you wonder, I mean, she grew up, got married to my grandpa. He had his own wild trauma history that we don't have the time to get into. But then they got married, moved here, and had my mom and her my mom's younger brother. And they had a significantly better life. Like, they lived in New York and then moved out to Long Island and had a significantly better life. And I wonder, how did that trauma impact my mom? And there's a lot I could say about that, but I'm like, boundaries. I don't I share a lot about myself on this podcast, but I also recognize for my sake, and I encourage you to do this as well for your sake, boundaries. Not everybody needs to know everything. I'm illustrating this story to, like, make it clear to you, intergenerational trauma, but this, boundaries, period. I wonder how my grandma's life, impacts my mom, how my mom's life impacts me. You know what I mean? My grandmother, obsessively clean, judgmental, so hard on herself, always, her house, I mean, the way she would fucking clean up her house, when she lived in, like, an old folks home, oh my god, that place was fucking spotless. It was truly amazing that she was able to do that until, like, almost the day she died. Um, my mom is like that. I am like that. And this is just one piece of the story, is like the cleanliness, like, obsessive cleanliness thing. Imagine if your life from 4th grade was totally judged based on, like, are you cooking? Are you cleaning? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And, there's so much unspoken stuff when it comes to trauma. It's like, I wonder how bad it really was. Like, what I know is true, and what I know from, like, being a social worker and, like, getting the privilege of, like, seeing into so many people's lives, so many people who, have trusted me enough to, like, share their secrets and share their lives and their trauma histories with me. What I know is, like, I probably don't know everything about what happened, in that house where my grandma went to live. Like, I probably don't know everything that happened there. And if you were judged, probably punished if the house was not clean, that 1,000% lives in me. When I'm, like, the annoying person who's like, "Don't touch that and stop that. Well, why is this here?" I'm like, "Yeah, this goes back to the old country." You know what I mean? Like, this goes back, okay? So, okay, that's just one example, and I could give so many more, some of which would actually be a little more, like, illustrative, but I'm like I said, boundaries. While I'm talking about this, think about you. What are the, like, evocative trauma patterns, intergenerational trauma patterns in your story and in your life, and what does that mean for you? How are they impacting you now? Okay, because what we want to talk about now is breaking the cycle. Oh, wow. Breaking the cycle, breaking the cycle, breaking the cycle. So, what would it mean to break that cycle? There are some very important ways in which people can break intergenerational trauma cycles. For example, coming from a physically abusive home and having children who you don't abuse. Wow. Yes, that is breaking the cycle. Coming from a family with very emotionally immature parents who don't like they can't properly emotionally take care of a child, and you develops the ability to actually emotionally take care of a child. Yes, that is massively breaking the cycle. Even growing up with parents who are emotionally immature, just in that they can't really tune into their children, and their life is just like about them, and they're not very emotionally mature. And then you grow up to be someone who, like, really, really can raise a child and raise a child well, and has a healthy relationship with your child. Yes, breaking the cycle. Now, how do you break the cycle when you don't have kids? This is for the gays. And the straights without kids, but, like, we're this episode, I started out saying we're here for the gays, so we're here for the gays. Will I have children? Probably not. And there is a fake version of me that people would look at and say, "Oh my god, he'd be such a great father." But there is a real version of me that would not be a good father. Like, I am, my life is my life. And a fake version of me would be like, "Oh, I'll sacrifice anything for a family," but that's fake. A real version of me is like, it's more complicated than that." You know? I'm a very sensitive person. I need a lot of time to, like, chill. I love to, like, lay in bed. I have my own interests that I don't really wanna give up. If I had children, my life would, I mean, a lot of you know how it is, but I would give up a lot. Do I wanna do that? No. But, okay, what can I do to make my healing matter to anyone aside from myself? Because so many people find it very inspiring to heal for their children, heal for their family's sake. Yeah, hell yeah. So many people also don't have that. So, what can I do, and what can you do to make your healing matter to anyone aside from yourself? Which, obviously, your healing matters massively to yourself. That's the most important thing. But how do you make your healing matter to anyone aside from you if you're gay and not having children? This gets us to the heart of it. What can you do to put your energy out there, to let your energy be out in the world? What if you were the person who, for example, was the mastermind behind the show Queer as Folk? Have I ever met that person? No. Do I even know who that is? No. Do I know, like, maybe it was a whole team of people. I mean, obviously a whole team of people worked on it, obviously. It was like a whole production. But, like, who was behind that? Who was the energy that was like, "I'm gonna put out a show all about gays. And that was at a time where, like, I mean, the world has changed a lot since then. That was at a time where that was pushing the envelope. That was definitely pushing the envelope. And who made that decision? Whoever did that was instrumental in my personal healing journey, and I don't even know who that was. And I'm sure they put a ton of energy into that. They had to make, I mean, the amount of effort that surely went into creating a show like that, the resistance they probably faced, oh man, like, things like that hadn't really been, I mean, like, in the, like, in the grand history of things, there are times where gay people and gay behavior is, like, much more and less accepted. In the, like, modern American history, gayness was in the closet. A lot of the time, gayness was in the closet, and this was bringing that out of the closet, and that's enormous. Whoever did that, they didn't do it for me, but they did it for me. You know what I mean? Whatever healing they had to go through to think, like, it's okay to come out of the closet. It's okay to put my energy out there. It's okay to put gay people up on the fucking screen, and we're gonna fucking do this and make it fucking cool. And even though we look back on it and I'm like, well, it's actually kind of problematic. But at the time, it was fucking cool. Whoever went through that, the healing that they had to do personally to come out of hiding and put their ideas out there massively, massively impacted me. And I'm like, that's it. Like, that is it. What do you do to put your, to make your healing matter for anyone aside from yourself? Like, if you're, if you're not having children, if you're gay and not having children, put your authentic energy out into the world. Let yourself be yourself and let your energy be seen. Let your energy be known. Let your energy take up space and make a fucking impact. We all want that. That is a universal human need. We all want that. And now you just have to figure out, what is your energy? Who are you? And how do you want to put you out there so that other people can see you? Because that will feel good to you and that will feel good to them too. Put your true authentic energy out there, because your true authentic energy is what it is. It exists in this universe, and so it just is good. It just is. And I recognize that, like, people could push back on this idea and say, like, some people who are putting their energy out there in this world are really hateful, and some people who are putting their energy out there are, like, blatant white supremacists or flagrantly sexist. That happens, unfortunately, a lot. A lot of that energy is out there. I don't believe that that's the true authentic energy for that person. Like, that's fear-based shit. That's not like if we dug beneath that, that's not the true authentic energy. Don't be scared to be you and put you out there, because that bullshit, that's not the true core of anyone. Yes. How many people have changed your life? Like, influenced you, brought joy to you? Like, like, how much joy has Beyonce brought to my life, for example? I've never met her, and I never will meet her, but she puts her energy out there, and it fucking resonates with me. You can be that for someone else, and it doesn't have to be your children. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But by putting your energy out into the world, you are the healing force of trauma. By putting your energy out into the world authentically, by tuning into you and being you and putting that forward, whether it's on a grand scale or a small scale, maybe it's just with the people around you, just saying the right thing at the right time to the person who needs to hear it, and you see it and you feel it, and so you say it. That's the healing. And here's the thing. I now need another hero, or, like, this people in just in this generation need to, like, step up and become the next heroes, because what I could imagine was so limited when I was that traumatized, closeted child. What I could imagine for myself and for my life was so limited. And now I mean, things have changed so fast in terms of rights, recognition, allowing the humanity of LGBTQIA plus folks. Like things have changed so much, and so we're the first like generation in like in modern history, at least, to be able to like grow into adulthood where our lives are not like super stigmatized, and then we're gonna get old is the next step, and somebody needs to, develop for me, uh, show me the way, you know? Or I've gotta do it, or we've gotta do it together. Like, what is the way for us to move forward? What are we gonna be like when we're old? Like, what's a good life when we're old? Because, I think what exists now, unfortunately, is a lot of, like, especially in the gay male community, there's so much hyping up of youth and, like, hot young men, and as you become old, you become, like, basically irrelevant. And, okay, that's one possible outcome, that if we don't do anything to change that, and if we don't imagine, more than that, then that's gonna be the prototype of how we're expected to live. Like, bad outcomes are possible if you don't take action, so we gotta take some action. Like, I need the next, um, dreamer. I need the next vision of what life is gonna be like for us. You can be what I needed in my dream IFS therapy session I was hitting a wall and I was like, there's no way out. There's no way out. There's no way out. And then when I woke up, I was like, well, the only way out would come when I was 18 years old and I saw the show Queer as Folk. That was like the way out of like intense like closeted homophobia for me. You can be the way out for someone. Of whatever it is, the way out of abuse, the way out of normalizing, sexual abuse, the way out of normalizing extreme emotional immaturity, the way out of normalizing just the most fucked up behavior, patterns that are not okay, hiding yourself, not being yourself, lying all the time, being fake as hell. You can be the way out of that for someone, and it might not be for your child. You can break the pattern. Okay, gays. This has been fun. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will talk to you next week.